Welcome to CTV's coverage of the Dunlop Ashley Forrest Rally Sprint.
Well done, Rob. And what a fantastic day it is here.
It is actually, it's a very good one. I thought we might tell them about our car.
I think that's a jolly good idea.
Basically, it's an Evo 4, which has been prepared and built up really by Dean Buis.
Dean Buis, that's right.
And we're being very grateful to a whole lot of people, including Harvey Norman Computers,
yes,
who's been helping us out a wee bit. AgriVenture, which of course is one of my cultural type contacts.
The Shop, Peter Thompson.
Exactly.
KJ Apparel, and wait till you see KJ Apparel with the flowers, so cool.
Which happened to be on my side. Great, isn't it?
I did that.
On your side, of course, you've got Graham Reid.
Graham Reid Finance.
Exactly. Now, while we're talking about the car, though, we should let people know that it's a four-wheel drive turbo.
We haven't mentioned Coaster's Tavern yet. They've also Coaster's Tavern. Now, go on, you say.
It's an Evo 4, which is turboed, four-wheel drive. And Joe, this is a step up from what you have been doing, but you've taken that step, if I might be so bold, exceedingly well.
Thank you, Rob.
You see, what happens is that I sit on the left-hand side, and basically...
He's my ballast.
I talk it through the whole thing, which is so good. And Joseph on the right-hand side doing all the work.
Yeah, it's a good system. He talks, he does what he's good at, and I drive.
And she is known to listen. Let's go and find out who else is here.
That's a jolly good idea. Come on.
Whilst one car is more than enough for some people, Gary Cliff, you've got a couple. One is very modern and one is not so modern. There's a bit of a difference stepping out of one into the other.
Yeah, Rob, it's quite entertaining. One's a two-wheel drive, an old replica of one of the works listens from 1980 that I've used in the Classic Series last year, and really enjoy driving it from that era when I started in 1973, so if I'd had this in 1980 I would have been world champion, so it would have been good. Four-wheel drive car is the car I've been using sort of for a few rallies here and there, and I would like to step from those and just concentrate on classics now.
So the Nissan is the replica, as you said. It's two-wheel drive.
Yeah, the Nissan's a fairly high-spec car. It's a two-wheel drive. It's a factory replica of the works cars from 1980 that won the 1980 Motor Yard Rally here. Exactly the same stickers, exactly the same body, flares. And we're running 240 RS Nissan transmissions through it, which was of that era as well.
Naturally
240 RS brakes, yeah, with a 2-litre engine on twin side valves. Yeah, so.
Gary, there was some controversy about those cars. They went home without having the heads taken off.
Yeah, one year, this car's of the last of them, it runs a twin cam engine, and when they were running here, 1980 was okay, but 1979 they also got third and fourth, and they went home without their heads being removed, and Nissan saying that they wouldn't pull them apart. We believe that nowadays that they were probably slightly over 2 litre.
The hill absorbs a lot of horsepower. Have you got enough horsepower in the Nissan?
At the moment it's probably running about 180 to 200 horsepower, so no, not quite enough. Although I have got a new engine being built, which hopefully will be ready for me for Dunedin for the classic event there, which will have another 40 horse, which will be a lot better.
You'll be up against a couple of world champions then too, won't you?
Yeah, probably not. I think they'll be gone. We'll be sort of just having our fun on the back there, but there's a lot of New Zealand guys that rally. When I started in 1973 that have rallied through the years and have now dropped into classics, so we have a pretty good camaraderie there, and it's a hell of a lot of fun again, whereas these things are expensive.
Tell me about classic racing, because what's the cut-off time and what sort of cars do you use?
They've got to be pre-1982, and the mechanicals have to be pre-1982. No computers, no four-wheel drive, no turbos, and basically the rules are reasonably simple after that.
Well, some people are obviously using traditional cars. Trevor Crowe, you've never been known to do traditional things. Tell us about this one.
Oh, it's a bit different, yeah. It's quite an old Skoda body, and I actually, a long time ago, tried to rally it with the original Skoda motor, and it didn't seem to be very fast for some reason. So we threw it out and put a V8 in it, which is traditional for me. And this is a Rover V8. It's nearly 5 litres. It's one we've worked ourselves, and we run through a Porsche Transaxle, so it's a bit of a hybrid.
A hybrid, that's the word, isn't it? For these sorts of events, you are allowed to do what you've just done and put a V8 in the Skoda and have a lot of fun.
Yeah, within reason. For here you have to have 2 seats, obviously, because you've got to take a passenger. But as long as it's safe, you build something safe, you can pretty much turn up and run it, which is fantastic. It's the old Kiwi spirit, really.
The exhaust system, of course, gets a fair bit of attention from sports fans. I mean, not very often you have those sorts of things hanging out the back, is it?
No,
it looks
well,
the part.
to be honest, it's out of a jet boat I built a few years ago and it happened to fit, so that's why it hangs out the back. But yeah, no, it's pretty effective.
How does it handle?
Yeah, really well actually. We've done a few changes because the car's been around for a long time. It's an old car and old driver, so it's had time to get sorted. But no, it's really good, and we just actually did quite a good time. I was quite pleased because the road's very slippery still, and we started with a 1.9, which is not bad for here. It's a bit of a beast, all the weight's in the back, and it's got a fair bit of power, so you've actually got to control it. You can't let the car take over or you're in trouble.
How tight is it up there? Because obviously with the power that you've got, you can get up there pretty quick.
Yeah, well, really, the hairpin is the only tight bit. The rest of it is quite fast, even though they look quite tight corners. We've just come from the Gold Rush down south, so we're in the groove and the car's in the groove, so we're not finding it too difficult. But the brave bit's the downhill bit, as always. You come into that left-hander at a fair rate of knots, and that's where you make your time or you don't.
As a driver, is it hard to really switch in for just over 1 minute and then sit around and talk with your mates and then have to psych yourself back up again?
Yes and no. I mean, I suppose I've done a lot of motorsport over the years, and so I've learned to do these things. The thing is really to stay relaxed so that you actually, get rid of the butterflies and just able to concentrate straight away. But of course, that's what this is about. When it's all over in a minute, you've got to get those milliseconds working for you, and so every part of the course has to be done perfectly, and if you don't do it perfectly, somebody's going to beat you. So it's just total concentration. It's probably not much different on a long stage, a half-hour stage. You've still got total concentration, but here there's just no room for mistakes.
Marty, you're down here from Auckland. You just came down with this event?
We came down for Race to the Sky last weekend.
How did that go?
For us it was a week from hell, Jo. We had a shocking week. Started off with Possum's crash on the Friday. On Saturday our engine tried to turn itself into a flamethrower and scorched most of the parts under the bonnet. So my poor boys had to work all night and get the car going for race day. And then on the way, about halfway up the hill, the cam belt broke and we ended up with no compression. So just dribbled across the finish line, but it wasn't our best event.
So you only got one run in?
Yeah, we got one clean run in and then a couple of problems with the other two.
Okay.
So we dragged everything back to Christchurch here in preparation for this event, and again my mechanics did a fabulous job and pulled the car apart and fixed it all up and got it back together again, and so far, touch wood, it seems to be going okay.
You won this event last year and you're looking pretty good this year too.
Yeah, I mean in this game anything can happen, Jo, so we're sort of not too confident at this stage, especially after the last week that we've had, but we've got our fingers crossed that we've had used up all our bad luck, and now hopefully we've got a whole lot of good luck coming.
Can you remember what time you won it with last year?
It was just over a minute, but the track was a bit slower last year than what it is at the moment, and we've just done a 1 minute in our first practice, so obviously that 1 minute barrier is looking pretty good to get broken this weekend.
Now today's Friday, tomorrow's Saturday, and of course tomorrow's the day that counts. What time are you hoping to ultimately do?
I don't really care what it is, mate, as long as it's faster than everybody else.
Is that right? You're that competitive?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. We come down here to try and do a job for our sponsors and to have as much fun as we can, and to be at the front is where we want to be, so that's what we want to do.
After this, what have you got ahead?
We've got a real busy schedule. We've got to shoot back to the North Island and get the car prepared for the Taranaki Tarmac Rally, which is the first round of the Top Half Regional Championship, and that's on the Saturday, and hopefully when we win that on Saturday afternoon we'll load up the gear again and back to Auckland for a Tarsila Hill climb in the Auckland Domain.
You're sounding very confident.
Well, you've got to talk it up a bit, don't you?
Tarmac rally, so no shingle.
No gravel. We've got to change the suspension and change the tyres and adopt a different driving style for the tarmac. But as you even see in the WRC, a lot of those guys do tarmac rallies as well as gravels. So to be a good driver, you've got to be good on all surfaces. That's what we try to do.
Are we sort of heading towards this in New Zealand more now?
Yeah, very much so. The councils are tar sealing more and more of the gravel roads up and down the country, and so a lot of rally drivers don't like the tarmac. Well, they've got to get used to it and get some nice smooth lines going, otherwise they'll get blown away.
Now, you're an Auckland boy, but you didn't do the Rally of New Zealand.
No, well, our car's a little bit older than most of the late model rockets that they've got in Rally New Zealand, and as well as the cost of competing in an event like that is really big, so we'd rather do a whole bunch of smaller events and have a good time there than be subjected to the cost and the expense and the pressure of the WRC.
Hey, best of luck.
Thanks a lot.
But it's not just cars that are whistling up and down the road at Ashley Forest. Andrea, quad bikes. Tell us about your one.
It's 400cc, and we do a lot of speedway racing at Rapuna and all over really. This is a really good event for us because we get to do different variety of things. So yeah, it's pretty quick.
What sort of times are these bikes doing? The cars are doing any time from about a minute out.
Yeah. Ian, number one guy, he's doing a 102 at the moment, and yeah, I think my last time was 120. Sorry. Yeah. So I'm a lot slower than what he is, but
things will still happen exceedingly fast.
They do. Yeah. If you have time to think about it, I don't think you'd do it. But yeah, no, it's great fun. Yeah.
You've got pretty small wheels. I mean, the gearing, do you change the gearing for different events?
You do, yeah. Different tyres, different gearing, yeah.
Well, how did you get into doing this?
My husband decided to do it, so I thought, well, if I don't do it as well, I'm going to be left at home in the weekend, so...
So he bought you a bike?
Yeah, we bought a bike each, and yeah, just started doing... We started trail riding first, but, yeah, and then we got into racing.
There's more than one woman actually competing?
There is, yeah. Jackie Key, she's the other lady. She started, well, she was one of the first women to start racing. So, yeah, there's only a couple of us that race, but it's good fun.
Now, how standard are the bikes, or how much modification do you do?
Yeah, quite a bit of modification to them, yeah. Change all sorts of things around and try and make them go faster, but, yeah, they're not stock at all.
The ability to ride one fast, I mean, I've ridden them slowly and they're bad enough, but at speed, you tilt your weight around?
You have to move your body around, yeah, to compensate, especially going around corners and, yeah, otherwise it'll tip up on you and you'll be off.
How fit do you have to be?
I'm not very fit, but I'd like to be a lot fitter. You do need to be fit, really, yeah, it does help, definitely.
And how many events would you do? If somebody were to say, I want to justify a bike, how many events do you do?
Most weekends we're out on them, yeah, but we do have a slow when it's quiet during the year, but no, it's quite full on actually, yeah. My wee boy seems to like it, so...
Oh, he's the next generation coming through.
Yeah, he's got one also, so yeah, he loves it. He's only 7, so yeah.
What age can you start competing at?
8. Yeah,
so he's
8.
just a year away
well,
from putting a helmet on.
Yeah, and getting out there. He's been on it since he was 3, so he just loves it.
known, Steve, for ingenuity, but you've basically turned it into an art form. Tell us about the car.
Yeah, it's got a 377 shed, rear mounted, turned around 180 degrees. The gearbox is a dog box, use no clutch, just clutch for taking off, etc. The transfer case is homemade transfer case. Kerry Jones actually made the housing and we finished it off. It's made out of two big Road Ranger gears. One's at 42 teeth, one's at 46. I've dropped the ratio down a bit, and then we've got a clutch, a little triple clutch mounted on the front of that to disengage the front drive when you pull the handbrake on. But that's all air operated, so it's a bit different from normal.
Whose ideas have all gone into it? Is it all your ingenuity?
Yeah, we just design it as we go, sort of thing.
It sounds complicated, but is it easy to drive or complicated to drive?
It's a bit of a beast, so you've got to sort of learn how to drive all over again, sort of thing.
That's two-wheel drive?
No, it's four-wheel drive.
It is four-wheel drive?
Yeah. It's actually running two transfer cases. One's a Pajero one, which we cut in half of the Pajero. It's a chain drive, big wide chain on it, and that's actually bolted up to the rear diff, and that's to get the offset from, so the drive shaft can fit down the side of the motor, if you know what I mean. So
that goes down the co-pilot side, I assume.
Oh yeah, that's why I don't want to sit there.
It goes to bits. So how long has it taken you to A, design, and B, to build it?
Well, it took us 6 years to, a couple of hours a night. You got to stay with it, otherwise you sort of lose interest, I suppose. Yeah, the odd week or two off, and then back into it again. I've gone through 3 wives.
And probably 7 banks, I would imagine.
No.
I mean, basically,
the wife I got's pretty good. You hear that?
As far as a project, I mean, you must have a bit of a team around you.
Oh yeah. We every time we go away, we have a team of about 8 or 10, I think. So.
And what can go wrong?
Lots of things can go wrong. We had a lot of overheating problems especially with the motor mounted in the rear. So we've managed to put all the big ducts on the top here, get the air flowing through, and the exit as well. Made a big difference. A lot of wrapping around the exhaust to tone the temperature down. That all helped.
I mean, with all due respect, you look as though you're about 8 stone wringing wet. Is it hard to wrestle with?
Oh, no, we got the power steer sort of into it.
Oh, you're getting the lazy bits now.
Oh, we got it. We got the reduction lock, so it's only 1/4 turns lock to lock, so it's still a bit of a wrestle, but it's good. So quick steering, you can whack it one side or the other.
So that must be pretty handy for that hairpin at the top.
Yeah, but we haven't got it right yet. So,
what else do you use it for apart from obviously sprints?
Yeah, just talk ons and rally sprints, yeah. My son actually took it down to the Gold Rush last year, and we were coming about 4th fastest. We had the small motor and the little 302 Chevy, and he was coming about 4th fastest car, and 8th overall. But yeah, then we had a bit of a problem with other things.
And it didn't happen?
No.
Deborah, you're here at Ashley Forrest to give the boys a bit of a run for money, and a couple of girls obviously as well. You having a good day?
Yeah, it's fantastic. First time we've done this event, and it's as scary as they said it was.
Are you finding it scary?
Yeah, I think it's the downhill more than anything.
What have you noticed about the course?
Slippery, short. We've just done Queenstown, Race to the Sky. So that was 15k, this is 1-point-something k.
1.7, yeah.
Yeah.
What about Queenstown? Tell us about Queenstown, the Race to the Sky.
Fantastic. If you're a spectator, fantastic event. If you're a driver, even better. But very well run, and a credit to Grant Aiken and Silverstone Race to the Sky.
How did you get into rallying?
I met my husband on an indoor netball court. I'm from down south, I'm from Waimate, and yeah, went to Wellington, met him, and his whole family's into it, and that's how I got into it. Didn't know motorsport before then.
So did you just decide to do a sprint or something like that? How did it start?
Yeah, pretty much. Within about 3 months of going out, he said, "You ought to drive my car," which is most unusual for guys to let their girlfriends do that, especially the car that he built by hand himself. And that's where it took off, really.
Then how did you go in your first sprint?
Didn't come last, came second to last, but wonderful. And from then on, it really just sort of went from car to car, and to where we are now in the Celtic Savaling Evo 6.
I know, it's an awesome car too,
yeah,
and you're very impressive watching you drive.
No, not too bad.
You've done the Rally of New Zealand about 5 times, I believe.
Yeah, no, that's something that I do enjoy doing every year. Haven't done it this year due to other reasons, but certainly that's the rally that everybody aims for in their career.
Now, when does a girl stop rallying and start having babies?
No, that's not going to happen. I'd like to think I'm too old for babies now, but no. My interests lie in motorsport, and maybe I'm too selfish, I don't know. I just haven't got that yearning yet. I might wake up tomorrow morning with it.
You're from Wellington. Mm-hmm. What do you do in Wellington?
I work for AXA New Zealand. I'm a business analyst in the IT area. And so I sit at a screen all day. I sit watching a screen all day.
So and you go home and play McRae Rally or something at night, do you?
Pretty much. We try and keep it mixed. Like, we just started taking up tramping and play a wee bit of sport here and there, a bit of squash. But it's hard to stay away from the driver's seat.
You've got goals in motorsport, I presume?
Well, we won the 2001 Group N Championship. That's going to be hard to match, but like any sort of top level of rallying, it does come down to the budget. This year we've backed off a little, so to speak, and we're just doing a few club events like this Ashley Forrest event, the Dunlop Rally Sprint, I think it's called. We'll just cruise this year, and then we'll get back into it next year.
Hey, best of luck.
Wonderful, thanks.
Mark Lenard, RX-7, tell us about it.
It's a classic car. Use it primarily for the classic rallying. We're doing the Otago Rally in a couple of weeks' time, so we thought we'd come here and give it a bit of a shakedown.
Just a bit of a practice run to get your eye in?
Yeah, and I mean, it's always, Ashley Forrest is pretty special. I did it a few years ago, and I thought, well, if we're going to have a run somewhere here, it'd be a great place to come.
How important is it for you to get sort of rally fit and get your eye back in and get practice?
Oh, it's it makes a huge difference. The more miles you can do, the better, obviously. And because I haven't driven for so long, it's it's important that I do a couple of sprints. So that's why we're here.
Let's walk back through your history, because you started off in pre-65 and had a lot of fun in that. Where did you go from there? Yeah,
started off doing circuit racing, which I did enjoy, but got talked into rallying in a Mark 1 escort, and really enjoyed it. It's two different sports, I feel, so